I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I actually believe that I got the first 2016 MX-5 in the state of Georgia. So I ordered it. I was right on the website as soon as the orders were opened up for the pre-launch. So I ordered mine probably first, and I do believe I was the first person in Atlanta or in the state of Georgia to actually receive the MX-5. So I may have more driving time experience than anyone else in the state, but I truly do like this car. It's an absolutely a no regret decision, and I think if you buy one, you're not going to regret it either. Gas mileage for it actually averages city highway probably in the between 32 and 35 miles a gallon. The smart car actually averaged about 38 to 40 miles a gallon, but this has twice the engine of the smart car. So it's twice the engine and feels like 3 times the power. So you won't regret it. It does use premium gas, but the smart car used premium gas. The Lexus uses premium gas. So the premium is an issue with a lot of the high compression sports performance cars, and even some of the non-performance cars still require premium gas. But I think you'll like this. It really, really is a great car. Hi, I am the owner of a 2016 Mazda MX-5, commonly called the Miata. And before I bought the car, I did a lot of researching, but all I could find were reviews by professional car reviewers. And I got my car on July the 21st, and now today is the beginning of October, and I put about 3,000 miles on it. So what I want to do, I want to give you an owner's perspective review of the 2016 Mazda MX-5, or commonly known as the Miata. First of all, just to sum it up in just a simple one-sentence nutshell, I really love this car. And I don't like to use the term love for material objects. It's a higher spiritual meaning, but I love this car. This car is really, really good. It's nice. It's everything they said it is. It's the first Miata that I have truly owned. I bought a Miata a month prior for my son who was in college. He's majoring in mechanical engineering, and they have a Formula One racing club there. They build a race car from scratch. And I had already pre-ordered this Miata, but as he began researching and studying into racing, he found that the Miata was the #1 car for really doing what he wanted to do with racing. So I bought him a 2001, and I drove that. So I do have the experience of the 01 compared with the 2016. I really like the 01, but the 2016, another whole ball game. When I first pre-ordered the car, I sat in a 2015. I am 6 feet 3.5 inches tall. So when I sat in the 2015, to be honest about it, it was kind of cramped. I couldn't even hold my knee up because it was too crunched between the door and the steering wheel, and I was a little concerned about that, but I went ahead and pre-ordered anyway. When I got into the 2016, I had plenty of room. I really like this car, and I want to just go over some of the features for those who are considering buying it. Some of what the negatives are said to be. There's no glove compartment. I really like the fact of the sensing of the key fob, and you just come up, push this. When you push the passenger side door, it clicks, it unlocks passenger door, driver's door, and the trunk. If you press one time on the driver's side, it only unlocks the driver's door. Press it twice, it unlocks everything. Very simple once you get used to it, and not only does it do it unlocking, but when you close the door and when you walk away, you hear it beep once, you walk away further, and you hear it beep again. Everything is locked. So this really, you get kind of used to this, that you don't have to worry about locking or pressing a button. It automatically senses, and you just come up, press a button on the door, opens, and that's kind of convenient. These little conveniences make a difference. Now, there is no glove compartment. People have made a big deal about this, but as I thought about it, I only had mostly junk in my glove compartment anyway. Back here is a small compartment that's about maybe 60% of the size of a regular glove compartment. It works fine. I keep all of my stuff there. It really, really works. Now, I'm 6 feet 3.5 inches tall, 180 pounds. I can fit into this car, and if I shut the door, I've got plenty of room here. I've got plenty of leg room, and as you can see here, I've got enough room to really wiggle my leg between the door and the steering wheel. With the 2015, I literally could not put my leg here because it would crunch up against the door. So they have tremendously improved the leg room and just the ergonomics of the car. The other thing that I'm super impressed about, for the 2016, they eliminated the power hardtop retractable roof option. So there's no retractable roof with a power hardtop option. I said I wanted a power retractable roof because it, just pressing the button just makes it easier. That was before this roof. Now with my son's 2001, letting the top back on the car is, when I say a man-sized job, I'm talking about a Hercules man-sized job. You literally can't do it. My son's a super conditioned. I'm real strong myself. I tried to lift the 2001 back with one hand, nearly tore my shoulder off. So if you're not super strong, and I'm pretty strong, I couldn't let that roof back and let it up with one hand without a major struggle, and actually without really risk of shoulder injury. My son, who's he's a state level swimmer, and he's a weightlifter, and he said it nearly tore his shoulder off. So lifting the earlier versions of the Miata, letting the top backing up, it was not a one-handed operation. The car that I had before this one, I still have it, it's a 2009 smart car convertible. The convertible has a power roof on it, so you press the button, lets the roof back in one stage, have to press it again, lets it back all the way. The problem is it takes it some time. I want to show you how fast this is. Literally, I can let this roof down and up in 6 seconds or less. Now, here we go. That's it. I can let the roof back faster than I can let the window down. So when I saw how this works, I didn't even want a power retractable roof because this is so much easier. And it doesn't take much effort. It doesn't take a whole lot of strength. When you let the latch up here to let the roof up, you can literally just take your hand and it goes up so easy and latches, and that's it. So it literally takes 1001, 1002 to let it up, 1001, 1002 to let it down. So you can let this roof up or down in about 2.5 seconds. So it is phenomenal with that. So the roof, because I'm an outdoorsy person, I like sun and I like wind, I like the fresh air, so I ride with my roof down all the time. And even if I'm going 2 miles, I let the roof down. So if you really like the air and the feel of the convertible, it's important to be able to let the roof down and up fast. The Miata engineers have done a phenomenal job with re-engineering this roof to where it is just ultra easy, ultra quick, and no hassle. And I will never want a power retractable hard roof option as long as this roof stays like this. Now the other thing I want to talk about, of course, they've added the start button. I have also a 2010 Lexus, I have an RX 450 hybrid. It has the same thing, so that's pretty much standard in most of the modern cars. Nothing super about that. Now the one thing I don't like about the 2016 is the sound of the thing. It kind of sounds wimpy. Plenty of power, but it sounds wimpy. When you crank it up, it goes into the Sky Active fast start mode, which means it idles high and it has a different sound. You'll hear it here. Now if you listen, it kind of sounds, it's a lot deeper, but once that thing heats up, it really sounds wimpy. Driving around, it has this little bitty kind of, it doesn't have a very powerful engine sound at all. That's the only negative about this car is, I don't know whether you can hear that or not, but it's kind of lawnmower sounding. It just doesn't have a, it's smooth, but it's not powerful sounding. And this may have been done for emission purposes or whatever. Maybe in another country where the emission is not so strict, it's got a little bit deeper, throatier sound. But that's the one thing that I do not like about the 2016 is the sound from a performance car aspect. Now, my Lexus is quieter than this. It has virtually no sound to it. But with a sports car, you kind of want a little rumble. That you're not going to get with this engine and the US version. I don't know what the European version or the Japanese version sounds like, but you will not get a deep sound except for when it's cold and you got about 60 seconds of warm-up. It sounds different during that first 60 seconds. The other thing I want to talk about is the entertainment system. Now this is something I put here. This is actually my phone holder because I keep that here. Doesn't come in the car. The entertainment system actually is pretty decent. You have the navigation system. It works excellently. It's voice controlled. Here you have several different methods of accessing your audio sources. You can go from XM radio. You can go from either one of these two flash drives. And the good thing about it, they have made the folder structure where it's almost an unlimited depth. What I mean by that is you can have a folder within a folder within a folder within a folder. Some of the cars, they only limit you to like 1 or 2 levels deep. So if you want to organize your music by genre and then by artist or album, and you can only go so deep. I took this about 8 or 9 levels deep. It doesn't seem to have any end to it. So that at least helps in terms of just the practicality of being able to organize your music. Goes here that you can select FM, AM, XM, Pandora. It hooks up to the Pandora app on your phone. Bluetooth with your phone. These are the 2 USB drives. So it's really, really good for that. The nav system works excellent. I've got a nav system in the Lexus. I've got separate standalone navigation units. And the voice control, the voice recognition on it actually is pretty good. So I'm very pleased with the audio system. I only have a few minor quibbles with it. But other than that, it's probably better than anything else I've used in a car. So that's kind of the comfort of it, the feel, the workmanship. Everything in this car is really, really good. The power is, as you know, it does 0 to 60 in a little bit under 6 seconds. So that's pretty fast. Corners, absolutely excellent. The options in terms of the blind spot monitoring, the lane departure monitoring, all of those really, really help. I'm just super pleased with this car from a driver's perspective, and just from the being able to fit into it, the ease of the roof, the beauty of the car, the handling of it. It is really a phenomenal vehicle from an owner's perspective. My odometer now reads I have got 3,582 miles on it. So I've been doing quite a bit of traveling. My Lexus, even though it's a luxury car, it's a big SUV, it stays in the garage most of the time, and this is what I drive 90% of the time because I just like the feel of this Miata. It's really, really cool. This little thing up here is just it's a dash cam that I've installed. But other than that, I think this is about everything that you really need to know. There is another snag with the car, and that's the trunk. Trunk space is absolutely limited, but it's decent. This is the trunk, and I've even had to put some little organizers here so I could kind of keep my stuff and be able to put my suitcase in it if I travel and I want to go somewhere for a couple of days. I can't even put a normal airline roller bag. It won't fit in this trunk. I have to have an actual duffel type bag to fit in the trunk. The trunk space is limited, no question about that, but this is not the largest car in the world, so you just wouldn't expect a large cavernous trunk. So that's not atypical for that. One of the other features of the MX-5 is the Bluetooth phone system and the hands-free system. Now with the convertible, as I mentioned, I had a smart car convertible, and even with the smart car on the highway, even with the top up, it was noisy. I had to use a headset that had a boom microphone that came right in front of my mouth so people could hear me clearly. Once I let the top down, the wind got really rough. With the MX-5, with the top down at highway speeds, people can still hear me clearly talking over the speaker system in the car. So the Bluetooth that they have implemented is fantastic. With the speakers that are in the headset, it makes it where the other person is loud and clear. With them hearing my voice at highway speeds, they can hear wind, but I'm perfectly audible and understandable. So that makes a huge difference in not having to have a lot of the a special Bluetooth set with a boom mic that's in front of my mouth. The in-car speaker system is very, very clear. It's very, very loud. So it makes a huge difference in just the convenience of having the hands-free in the car without having on a Bluetooth headset. So that's another one of the major pluses of the MX-5. They've done a fantastic job with the acoustics. Now the car is extremely quiet also. It's smooth going over potholes in the street. So it's got all of these features, the little things. They have really paid great attention to detail in this car. When you read the reports about them doing all the little details, shaving all of the weight, they're not kidding. They have really paid a great amount of detail. Usually on a first edition car, there are a whole lot of things that need to be modified for the next year. I don't think they're going to need to do much for 2017. All of the things that I see to need to be changed, really, the only things I see are in the software in the entertainment system, and those are minor, and those are probably going to be just upgrades as soon as they make those changes. So it's very, very few things. For example, another thing in the software system, if I go and change files on the USB flash drive, it doesn't update as fast, and there's no way to force it to refresh. Minor things like that, but that's all software that'll be covered with probably the latest updates. Although the phone Bluetooth system in the car is great, there is one modification that does need to be made, and that can probably also be made through software, and that is when you turn the ignition switch off, the phone does not disconnect from the Bluetooth system in the car. Now the connection is very, very good. It connects instantly. It'll reconnect instantly. But if you turn the ignition off, it remains connected to the car. Even when you walk away, you have to get 30 or 40 feet away before it will disconnect. Now the drawback to it is this. Normally, if you're talking on the phone through the car system, you turn the car off. You want to then switch to your personal Bluetooth that you have on your head or in your ear. Well, it won't do that. You have to either walk away from the car a good distance before it will connect to your headset on your head, or you have to open the Bluetooth settings on your phone and manually go in and disconnect the Mazda system. I rent a lot of cars, and every car now basically has Bluetooth in it. And all of them, it will disconnect the phone the minute you turn the ignition off, except the MX-5. So that's the one thing that does need to be fixed, because if you turn the ignition off, there's absolutely no reason for the Bluetooth to remain connected to the phone. It needs to instantly disconnect, and then you can reconnect to the other Bluetooth that you have as you walk away from the car. And I think that can be fixed by Mazda software engineers with just a software upgrade. The phone Bluetooth is just excellent, connects instantly, the connection is solid. It's a little too solid because it won't let go once you turn off the ignition. So they need to fix that. One thing about the entertainment system that I don't like is you cannot enter contacts individually. They all have to be imported from your phone. And it will only import a maximum of 1,000 contacts. And I think I have about 1,500 in my phone, so it cuts off some of them. And I don't want all of them there anyway. So if Mazda had just allowed you to just enter, because most of the time if you enter 10 contacts, that's usually 90% of who you contact via phone, just in those top 10 contacts, and probably 85% of them in the top 5. You cannot enter individual contacts, so that is one drawback that it has, that I think they could easily improve that, but those are just minor things. And my guess is because they have where you take the SD card out, put it in your computer, it updates the navigation maps, and it updates the software. I think they'll add that capability later, because that's just a minor software upgrade. Other than that, I wanted to give you just an opinion of what an owner thought, not a professional automotive reviewer. But I have owned quite a few cars. I've owned 2 Corvettes. I've owned a 280Z. I currently own a Lexus. I still have my smart car. So I have owned quite a few sports cars. So I am kind of, and I still have I have a BMW motorcycle. So I have some vehicles, and I have a lot of vehicular experience. This thing really does drive good, and once you get one, you're gonna love it. I see why Miata is the #1 selling roadster of all times. I understand that. They absolutely have a winner with this. And the minor things such as no glove compartment, don't worry about that. You don't need all that space anyway in your glove compartment. Everything you truly need to carry will fit in the little compartment right behind the armrest. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the review. If you want to get a Miata, you will not regret the decision. Be blessed.